Finally, after a long journey, Tyrion enters Esseros and comes upon the city of Mareen. Well, I think we should check in. We've had a long journey, and we don't want to appear before the Queen totally exhausted. Uh, might not be too respectable, I guess, if we did something like that. Well, perhaps you're right, Tyrion. Maybe we should get a room and rest for a while. I think that would be a good idea. So they go to a hotel and ask for a room. And after paying for it, their belongings are taken up to their room. Nothing like a nice rest on a comfortable bed after such a long journey. Yes, well, we shall lie together and have good dreams together. I like the sound of that. And so they go to bed and take a long nap because it was quite the journey going from sailing vessel to their long journey across the desert plains of Esseros once they had left Westeros. The Summer Islands warrior ladies, led by their female leader, makes good on a promise made to the Queen, or the former Queen Margie's mother, that once they had aided her in also joining the factions to installing the new king, a cousin to former King Thomas, who committed suicide at the time when he lost his wife through the great explosion of the Faith of the Seven Temple, and his older wife. They declare that now that all has done, it is time for them to collect what is rightfully due them as well. In turn, the Lady Tyrell, mother of deceased Queen Margie, pays in good coin to the Summer Islands queen, who is also the leader of the Lady Warriors. They have much friendship and respect for each other, and so they allow her to leave in peace, as she feels all has been justified and done, though she was disappointed she could not have the life of the Queen Mother. She is still satisfied that she is not going to be the one on the throne. And then it goes into another scene where eventually the body of Viserys is discovered. After paying the Summer Islands Queen what was due her for aiding her in her efforts during the Great War of taking back the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdoms from Daenerys Stormborn of the House of Targaryen, she then informs her of some startling news. I have to tell you that never in my life would I have believed such a miracle came to pass. Oh, and what would that be, Lady Tyrell? My daughter lives. Are you serious? Yes, King Johnston was being somewhat of aloof, but he, I guess, intended it as such to surprise me. I would have never thought nobody had ever survived. So Queen Margie is alive then? Yes, she is. We discussed much, and she caught me up to speed of everything that happened since the time of the building in King's Landing. The Temple of the Faith of the Seven was blown up. And apparently, the Queen Regent, who had herself crowned and sitting on the Iron Throne before Daenerys Stormborn invaded King's Landing, had a hand in it. So what will you do now? Well, I have to update my petition for the Abominations trial. Can't really have her tried for someone who's not really dead. But she's not off the hook either. She still would be guilty for that which has befallen my son, Margie's brother, as well as the other members of the Faith of the Seven, though I do not share their religious beliefs, and anyone else who is involved. I see. And so how does this affect Queen Margie? Well, she agrees with the Abominations petition that I filed, though I have to revise it. And though she didn't share her brother's interests in certain servants and lords in the unnatural state that he would do, he was still her brother. So the Abominations hearing shall go through. Of course, that means a lighter sentence, and I don't like that, but there's nothing I can do about it. And because Daenerys Stormborn of the House Targaryen was allowed one final decree before she was dethroned by a large invading faction, especially those beyond the known world from 3 locations, she cannot be executed. I don't like that much either. She's on what is called restrictions. The Abominations hearing, of course, would keep her from getting within a certain area of the sector that she's restricted to, and she wouldn't necessarily be restricted just to the residence she lives in, just a certain part of the city. Okay, well, then I guess things seem to be going well for your plans. Yes, King Johnson remains on the throne until somebody decides who should have it, and thus the throne is secured for King's Landing as well as for the realm of the kingdoms. Well, this is good then. We are happy that we were able to assist you in any way we could, as well as I am thankful for your assistance. So with that, Lady Tyrell then gets ready to depart back for King's Landing. With a melted crown around his head, the scene, of course, would be a little bit grotesque. They managed to get the melted gold off his head, and because it is such a degrading way for him, the way they found him, and again, in this world, people don't decompose like that of the homeworld of Earth, of this mysterious person that will arrive. So they put in a respectable manner a proper crown around his head with somewhat of a type of veil or covering to hide the markings of that which killed him, of the burning hate and the sensation of the melted gold that her former king Drogo had poured on his head. He's returned home, and those who followed him give him a ceremony of much honor, and is laid to rest below the stones of the backyard garden of the uncle, and a memorial is set up for him. They put his sword in a special holding place of the memorial so that he will be remembered and respected. He was to be the ruler long, long ago, but because of the history of how he had too early gotten greedy for the power, much like Daenerys, who had done it subtly, it was his own undoing right off from the get-go, and he didn't really treat his sister that well, nicely either. Eventually, the scene then switches to the Dragonstone Refuge. In this scene, as Viserys is giving the proper royal welcome home and about to be laid to rest, the uncle and those who knew him best and followed him from the time that he was growing up, that were friends of his, give him the royal respected memorial service for being laid to rest because of the fact that he was to be the future king. Though they don't say nothing about how he treated his sister, because they don't feel it would be respectable to speak ill of the dead. They do understand that perhaps this was something he brought on himself, but yet they still respected him as a king, or at least crowned as one who should have been king. In any case, this is the scene that shows the funeral procession as he's being laid to rest in the backyard of the uncle at the flower gardens area, and as they mount a monument in his honor while hanging his sword up in one clasp that is part of the monument. After gently placing his sarcophagus into the ground before they fill in the hole with the dirt and prepare to place the bricks with special colored bricks to show his exact burial location, the uncle then solemnly steps forward. A man who wishes to be king must lead a good life. Because if a man cannot lead a good life, how can he be a good king? I always knew that there was something different about Viserys. He was becoming more aggressive. And perhaps, had I done a better job as an uncle, I would have seen how he was craving the power and mistreating Daenerys Stormborn, his sister, my niece, of the House of Targaryen. I blame myself for this, because I did not always see, with eyes open, the things that were developing. But it's a mistake that I, too, shall not make, just as the visionary had helped Daenerys see with her eyes open the mistakes she made, and she finally has admitted them. And by admitting them, she is now truly going to rule as a good queen. One who leads must lead in purity, pure of thought, pure of heart, and pure of deeds. Had he not acted so aggressively, he would probably still be with us today. That does not mean that the Dothraki king, Drogo, who did what he did, is off the hook, though he be, from what I hear, deceased as well. But in a fact, as symbolism is everything, what affects one affects all. If one acts treacherously, they can be expected to be treated treacherously in return. We should think upon not the negative things, but remember the times, for those who knew him best, of the good times that him and his sister did share in laughter, though they didn't play like the other children of the known Seven Kingdoms. Because of their nobility and royalty, they did have times that they shared that were quite pleasant. And to see them laugh together and get along was also as pleasing to me as it would be for each of them. Those of us who remember him best should think of the positive, because I believe that's how he would have wanted us to remember him. And had he been given a chance, perhaps he would have seen the error of his ways too, if he would have had a confidant who would at least tried to direct his path. And perhaps he did have one. Perhaps he had clouded judgment and refused to listen to a confidant to give him good advice. No one really knows. I wasn't there. But we should always remember that he was due to be king. And so, though he never got the opportunity to claim what is rightfully ours of the House of Targaryen, he shall be remembered as one who should have been king. I would only pray to the gods of fire and ice that perhaps one day, should the right opportune moment come, that they would forgive him of his transgressions towards his sister, and having been in greed of power, to let him into the spirit world, where he can be at peace once and for all. he didn't qualify for the proper ritual to be cremated because of the things I've only heard and how he was found. But nevertheless, he does deserve a proper burial, and this is why he is now brought home. I'd like to think that now that there's only 2 of us left and I will not want the throne, I do not care to have to deal with politics and settling people's differences. Therefore, it's up to Daenerys to make this claim, and hopefully this time she will not be subtle as she was about it when she was craving the power, but having freely admitted her mistake and not make them again, she is now truly acting like a queen by admitting her mistake, and she should be able to get what is rightfully hers. Not sure when, but perhaps, as I hear rumors, one of not our world, let alone the 7 known kingdoms, will be paying us a visit, and is to be the leader for the House of Targaryen, to give her the victories, and much, much more, as a future mate of hers. I think that we all can agree that we should not speak ill of the dead. He is one that we grew fond of, and most of you who knew him best followed him because of his wisdom. So we shall always remember him the way he was, and not the way he turned out or how he was found. Then everybody draws their swords. We give honor and tribute to Lord Viserys Targaryen of the House of Targaryen. Long live his memory for the good times that were shared by us all. And with that, they do a sword salute, and thus ends the scene as they resheath their swords, and the hole is being filled, and they prepare to replace the bricks with styled rectangular colored bricks to mark the location of where he's buried, and others place the special monument with the sword holding device that's part of the monument into position at the head of his burial area. Littlefinger comes across Sansa and Bran. They don't turn him away, but they're kind of reluctant in trusting him because he has been known to turn to the other side. So they more or less become acquainted friends. And eventually, because he too is somewhat of the new House of Lanis King. So, Eugene Dragonstone to do whatever he can to turn a few coins here and there. Not that he's completely poor, because he would, it would be beyond him to be in such a status. So he starts up his own type of business for single men and women. And not that Sansa would associate with somebody like this or ever go to one of those places. They merely keep their friendship on a professional basis. And thus ends the episode for 8 Memories and Blessings of Hope. Littlefinger then finally makes his presence known to Sansa Stark, Arya Stark, and Bran. Well, isn't this a surprise? And what are you doing here? Well, the invasion did occur after you left, and thanks to Lord Varys, I managed to escape through a special passage. I didn't want to be any part of it, and though I do not agree with her having the throne, from what I understand, she was being dethroned because of her marriage to a man who has risen from the dead by a woman in red, who now serves under the new uh, Lanis, former Lanis King relative of the House of Baratheon. Well, then that means then she is no longer in King's Landing. Correct. I would imagine she had a long trip of tears back to the Pyramid Palace. Have you heard anything of Jon Snow? The last I recall, he was still in the palace. As to what happened to him after that, I do not know. The only two options would be is that A, they would execute him there on the spot, or B, they would force him out of the city into exile. And if there should be any child born, then he would most likely not allow anyone who succeeded in dethroning Daenerys to kill the child. He would take the child with him to live out the remainder of his days. The child, of course, would have been stripped of land and title, and Daenerys would have been forced to disown the child so that the child would never ever have a claim to the throne of swords for the realm of the kingdom. So then here we are. We're all in Dragonstone as refugees. Yes, sadly to say. But I've resumed some of my old preoccupations. I'm not accustomed to being in such a status, though I know it's not something you would be interested in. No, I'm not into your special occupations. That would be improper for me, being a Stark. Well, I just wanted to let you know that I am around, and should you want to ever talk, or if necessary, you can summon me and I can visit you. Since we all are refugees, the circumstances may or may not be the same. I am here. All right then. Well, I'm glad you had a safe journey. Perhaps we can visit sometime later on. Well, that is good, Sansa, and I would look forward to visiting you later. I won't hold you up, so I shall take my leave. And so with that, then he leaves after she now knows that he is also a refugee on Dragonstone. The Summer Islands Queen then has someone else who is somewhat got royalty and nobility that works for the staff of, and also the Queen at Summer Islands. She gives her a mission to go and rescue Greyjoy's sister, who is being held captive by the current Iron Islands king. She accepts this and assures her that she will move in stealthily without being noticed, and so long as Greyjoy's sister doesn't make a sound, she will be back with a full report of the achievement that she's made in getting Greyjoy's sister set free, and that they should not be noticed. So with that, she then sets out on the rescue mission. The Dragonstone Island, Sansa then states, and questions are at way to warn Jon Snow of the things that were about to happen. Perhaps none of this. The strangers in strange armor from beyond the known world had the upper hand, and obviously she accepts the fact that Daenerys was not going about to risk her dragons being slain, because then she would be the mother of dragons if they're killed. So Littlefinger tells her some words of wisdom that when one is like a pretty much a prey in tall grass, one does not make loud noises or sudden movement, lest the lion should discover their whereabouts and pounce upon them and tear them apart. Even Bran finds wisdom in this, and all three of the surviving Stark family members accept this.
The only thing Bran can do with his vision of foresight is inform Littlefinger that Jon Snow is alive and well. But if there is a child, the child he has taken, and he has resided to solitude, so not much can be done in regards to this. And so, with that having been said, that means then who knows when they'll ever hear from him again. Arya feels that, something should have been done, but realizes that perhaps this would have been their own undoing as well. So she has to accept the fact that she also is in refuge so that she is not caught. But because she is great with the sword that she carries, she is considered to be the protector of her older sister and Ren. Littlefinger assures her that he has much respect for her because she is one to stand up for what is right. And therefore, that as long as they do not draw attention to themselves, they should be safe in Dragonstone because one sometimes can hide out in the open when no one would expect them to. Therefore, hiding in the open, no one sees anything. Just because of words of wisdom, and they do accept this. Meanwhile,
At the Iron Islands holding area, this other um, rescue person who is sent on a mission by the Summer Islands Queen finally arrives. Greyjoy's sister notices her and holding up a finger to her lips. Shh! Don't say a word unless you want us both to be caught, and then we both be killed. What are you doing here? I'm here to rescue you. I have to work, and I must concentrate pretty fast. What of my brother? As far as I know, the Bolton relative who is now king has your brother. I see. So she continues working, and after much effort, finally gets the bars free. We must hurry. We have to leave before sunlight. Very well. I'm glad that you have rescued me to save me from the fate that was due to befall me. Well, let us hurry. We need to go now. Yes, well, please, let's get out of here. So with that, they take off before the rising of the sun and head back to the Summer Islands. Back in Mareen, Daenerys was having a feeling that there was something she needed to do and decided to walk to a palace garden in or around the Pyramid Palace. So what the stranger, as a human would call intuition, they call probably something different in Targaryen. She decides then to see why it is that, or what it is that brings her or summons her to this area, and makes her way up some stairs and is surprised to see someone in a brown robe, very much like a priest, but not like of any priest known in the common 7 known kingdoms. As she stops short, she seems somewhat startled, and he turns around. I see you have found your way here. I don't know why, but something told me I had to appear. Well, as a Targaryen priest, we have an extra sense that most Targaryens do not have. That is why I am a priest. She seems somewhat delighted and surprised that there is a Targaryen priest, and you represent the old gods and the new of our Valyrian faith. That is true, I do. the gods of fire and ice. She has a big smile on her face and seems quite pleased. I thought that all Targaryen priests of the old new gods of the uh, fire and ice faith were wiped down? Yes. Well, we were hunted down like dogs by the faction known as the Faith of Seven. Not that we're cowards, but we considered self-preservation and took into hiding so that we would not be totally annihilated. I see. Well, it is a great honor to be in your presence. Well, as it is mine, as you are a queen. So, was there a reason I was supposed to come here, or you summoned me here? Yes, I take it from what I sense. You have listened to the words of wisdom from a certain visionary of the palace. Yes, um, I have learned many things. Yes, and I believe it was from your victory, though it be short. You may have been in King's Landing for about 3 to 6 months, and we're about to marry someone that was, well, how should we say, once gone and brought back. That is true. How do you. Yes, I remember. You have the extra sense, she said. Just realized she was about to ask a question that would be a little redundant. Well, perhaps it was for the best. I would kind of sense also that you don't trust sorcerers or sorceresses. No, not since I had been lied to by one when I was married to a Dothraki husband. Well, that is good. Then you have seen the light, even if it was the enemy who revealed this. Again, I do sense things more than the average Targaryen, and that is why I am a priest. She accepts this, and he motions for her to have sit down beside him, as he does sit down as well. And then he decides to stand. I also sense that there's something of great excitement that you have within your heart. Yes, I believe we will have a visitor, but he's not of any known kingdom. I see, and I also would detect he would not be of any known part of our world, for that matter. She finds this fascinating. He seems to almost know everything already. But again, this would be why he's a priest. His intellect is very much higher than hers. You do not object to my being told by the visionary that I am to accept him as my mate? No. In fact, under normal circumstances, had he been a Targaryen man, he would have to, if he wasn't already, accept our faith before you take him as your mate. But because I sense he's not of the world, you will know the right time when to convince him to accept our faith. And I'm sure from what I sense that you are feeling, as you seem to be having much desire and pleasures within your heart of this stranger's due to arrive, he will follow you anywhere, and be it a simple meeting or some time that you spend with him, even perhaps not to be disrespectful or embarrass you, but even at a time of lovemaking, you will find a way to present this to him to accept our faith. And I feel that if he loves you as great as he may, being not of our world, he will accept this. She has this smile about her again. Yes, I've never converted anyone before. Well, your part is easy. All you have to do is convince him that if his love for you is still strong, he will accept our faith and be willing to accept the baptism by submersion of purifying the body. And then you must do another part by giving him a full pitcher of the Targaryen waters that are blue to baptizes and purifies the spirit, which means anything of his, including each member of his body, then would be belonging to you entirely. Nothing of his, nor any part of his body would ever belong to him then, because you will have truly possessed his soul and every part of him, and he would truly, fully belong to you. I am looking forward to this, but how will I know? Trust me, Daenerys, you will know when the time is right to convince him to accept our faith. It's just a matter of time. And since he may at first not have the longevity that we do, being he will become a Nysens from a smaller world, in time, something great will happen. It may almost cost him his life, but he will live, and he will live as long as you, and I, and the others of the kingdom. Well, I can imagine this would be a great moment. Was there anything else that you wish to ask of me? I sense that there is something troubling you. Yes. The visionary said I had to remain celibate and be true and pure for the one that is due to arrive. I have come to ask for, I guess, since you are the priest of our Targaryen faith, for retribution of temptations that I have given into. I see. Well, I am one of many curiosities, as you well know. Yes, you are a very young queen. When I was with my husband Drogo, my handmaiden had to show me how to love my husband in a somewhat stimulating way. And I did take this into consideration. At the time I took King's Landing, I had been tempted and given into a pleasure, though not natural, of one who is of another kingdom. But I feel that perhaps I may have done something wrong. Well, it is not natural for a woman to mate with a woman. It would give you no heirs, and to do such a thing would be an error of judgment. It would be considered impractical and immoral. I see. But do not let this worry you, Daenerys. As a priest, I can give you this retribution and assure you that after I leave, this is something then, if you be true in your heart, you will never do again. Right. You are right. So, what? Is there anything I must do? No. You've already confessed to this, therefore it will never be mentioned again, and you have your retribution. Never again will you take a woman to give you such pleasures, since it is improper and not physically moral anyway. Because again, a woman cannot have another woman bear children. You are right. Well, thank you for giving me my retribution, and I assure you I will not do this again. That is good to hear. So, let us not think of anything more of it. It is in the past. I thank you, Priest Lord. Will I see you again? Only when the time is right. Again, I'm not sure. Perhaps someday we will have a time where we will no longer need to be in hiding. But whenever you need me, I will know this, and I will appear. We have our ways, as you will know, we being Targaryen priests, of only appearing when we need to appear, and not being visible to just anybody or the naked eye, but we see much. Yes, that is true. Well then, blessings be unto you, Daenerys. Rule well. I see great things in your future, though I'm not a visionary. But this one here, as the visionary I believe has told you, is one you're going to want to hang on to. Yes, I am anxious in meeting him. So, I shall take my leave of you, my queen. And know this, we are always watching, both the old gods and the new, of the fire and ice. And with that he turns and leaves. And after she watches him leave, she feels as though she has made a new commitment and will never again take into pleasures or temptations of having a woman give her such pleasures that only a man could give her. And so thus ends the mysterious meeting of a Targaryen priest.
Well, finally, after much effort, the other lady from the Summer Islands returns with Greyjoy's sister and presents her to the leading lady of the female warriors. Greyjoy's sister seems well pleased and thanks her for much for having spared her of the continuous torturous life that was going to be put upon her so that she couldn't speak against the Iron Islands king. In the meantime, she gives a full report to the leader that all went well and they were able to leave before the sunrise. Greyjoy's sister seems very angry that all has happened and asks if anybody's heard of anything of either Jon Snow or Daenerys. The one that was sent to save her assures her that they have heard nothing about Jon Snow, and if there was a child that had been conceived prior to the marriage, no one knows anything about this as well. But then again, as far as she has heard, Daenerys has taken retreat for the very first time in her life because she's always been one who has come out victorious because there was nothing she could do. She couldn't use her dragons. 1/3 of the Dothraki were killed, and the rest didn't want to get wiped out. So, as the Iron Islands king was bombarding the ships, they managed to escape, while 1/3 of the ships, including Daenerys' ship, was burned at sea. Is not happy with this at all. So she wonders what can she do. The best advice she gives is to not make sudden movements because this could draw attention to herself, and then her work of getting her freed from her captivity would have been for nothing. So it then switches back to Mareen. Eventually, the king is notified by a messenger that apparently she's not in her cell, and he's not very happy about this at all. They look all over the island, but cannot seem to find her. This means somebody had to know something about her location and was able to get her out. He swears that he will not rest until he makes sure that she cannot speak against him because he intends to hold the throne of the Iron Islands. In the meantime, there's not much he can do about Greyjoy himself because he's already in the hands of the Bolton relative who has taken over the uh, former nephew's position, though he did treachery against his father, to be holding the Bolton throne, which took away from Sansa's legal claim to have the throne for Winterfell. Back at
As the Iron Islands king then does his own investigation while the search for Greyjoy's sister continues, he starts looking around to see what he can discover. he has others also kind of digging around the cell and outside the holding area. It seems like they came in from what we can see, from beyond the outcrop here down to the water's edge, though I can't make out the footprints. So they came in by boat or another means to make this rescue a success. And then he looks at the bars that were individually pulled apart. Somebody would have had to have special skills to do this. I know it wouldn't be the Starks, because that would not be something they would normally do. So it wouldn't be them, and they'd probably be in refuge anyway, since this new King Bolton, the uncle of the deceased nephew, has Greyjoy himself. He wouldn't want to cross my path and try to tap her as well, so he wouldn't do it. So who would be the one to come all that way just to rescue her? An idea finally comes to his mind, and he kind of looks down with eyebrows raised as if it was a disgusting idea that came into his head. Do you figure something out, King? Yes and no. I don't know who it was, but I'm thinking that I know where it was that they came from. Although I can't be certain of this. I'm hoping, and he thinks for a moment, it was not any involvement by the Queen of the Summer Islands. She has skilled lady warriors, and some that are so secret you wouldn't know about them, but they have certain assassin and rescue skills. Shakes his head and thinks, no, it couldn't have been them, but not totally discounting the idea. Well, there's not much more I can do here. So, whatever evidence you find, gather it up, bring it to me, and we'll hope to try to figure this one out. This is quite the mystery. Yes, my king. And so with that, then he walks off and leaves the others assigned to the task to gathering any evidence and figure out who it was that had freed Greyjoy's sister.
Daenerys is standing outside on the pyramid balcony and had summoned the visionary, even though he's not one to be the palace um, dignitary who gives words of wisdom or advice, but it's because of the prophecies he has seen in his visions that she wishes to ask him about things that she has also seen last night. The visionary finally appears, and you have summoned me, and she then turns. Yes, I need to know what this means. When I was awoken by a bright light last night, it was like a bright blue dark star. Visionary then seems to be amazed that she had been awoken by this, and she assures him that Missandei had first, her handmaid, seen it first, then noticed that she was also up, and he explains to her, perhaps we should sit down and talk about it. So she does. He tells her that the star that she's seen is the next most assured sign that the stranger from Dark Blue Star has already went through the prophesied catastrophic event. It's only a matter of time before he shows now, and he will come with much sorrow when reality hits him in the face before he tries to act boldly. That though he tried to save many people of his kind, 1/3 of this planet, probably in the billions, have been killed by another solar system alien to his own. He continues on and lets her know that he will have much sorrow, and this is where you will awaken the sleeping dragon, because he will wake up with such a nightmare. And when you give the mere touch of your hand to his chest, you will calm him, and he will feel safe in your arms. I do not know why, but you will somehow for him in some way, and you will have another vision. You will dream about a big red dragon who stands on the shore as a gray dragon comes out of water. Symbolically, again, symbolism being everything, you'll come to appreciate the things he explains to you. She seems fascinated and has him continue. The vision that he will explain to you is the fact that you are the red dragon. Because you are the female dragon, the mother dragons, you are the stronger. And the gray dragon from another world will be found along the shore. Therefore, symbolism is already explained. But he will be a submissive and respectable dragon and will yield to you, and you will accept his yield, because he will swear his life to defend you, even if it means his very own life. And you'll come to accept him because of the fact that he yields to your ruling and will obey any command that you give. She finally stands, goes to the balcony, and looks at him. So this dark blue star then means that the stranger who will lead me to the Iron Throne once and for all is due to arrive then. She has a big smile about this. Yes, my queen. Most assuredly, his arrival will be in a timely manner that will be to much anticipation and excitement. I believe, since we have the same senses, more than that of this person who will come to the world, that your uncle once said you took care of pets. She kind of laughs about this as he continues explaining, and that you will come to set him as a pet, but you will not allow to get him into the palace, so you will send 2 guards to retrieve him for you. As she faces the balcony, he tells her one last thing. All that has come to pass will continue right to the very end, and you will accept him, and he will respect you as much as you respect him. You will accept each other, and he will be the one to lead you to great victory. If there's nothing else, I shall go ahead and take my leave then. So she dismisses him and then continues looking over the kingdom of Mareen. Everything that she has seen seems to be going well. Everything in the prophecy coming true. Now, it's only a matter of time for her just to wait to see when the stranger, dragon's hair, appears from the dark blue star in the Valyrian night sky.
As the visionary comes back, he also decides to give her some additional news. My queen, yes. Did you forget something? No. There is some other news that I wanted to tell you about. There's a prophecy about you as well. Are you serious? There's a prophecy about me? But I'm already here. Yes, but this prophecy is about what you get to look forward to when the stranger, the legendary human, comes from this dark blue star. Alright, is it good news or bad? Well, it's actually good news. And it is something that you might find quite, well, interesting. So she sits at the table with much delight and intent to hearing what he has to say. Please, be seated and do tell. So he does, and as he explains to her some things that is a bit of romance and mystery about this one human, it goes into a musical scene to where she is having many thoughts, not that she's trying to intentionally not pay attention, but it causes her mind to wander in such a loving type way that it is as if she hears the words but doesn't quite understand them, but yet it gives her visions of the things that she has to look forward to. as a musical scene that she has of the visions that's gone through her mind continues, she regains her composure so it doesn't appear as if she wasn't paying attention. And the visionary then finally concludes, as far as you can see, you will have a good future ahead of you as a supreme queen and having the Iron Throne of Swords for the realm of the kingdom. This is very good. Um, this is it's so much for me to take in. Yes, I do know. And so there is much excitement, stimulations, and pleasures that you have no idea that await you. I can hardly wait to see this happen. And so, is this dark blue star that we saw last night, that woke us, the last sign that we'll see? It should be, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. If it is the last sign, it's only a matter of time before he finally washes ashore. There might be one more sign, but it'll be right after that one, either at dusk, daybreak, and he'll be on the way. She has this big grin and shakes her head because it's just, for her, it is a revelation of things to come. And I still don't understand how he can be, if he's low in stature and more frail than our kind, our people of this world, how can he be the one that leads, or I mean, brings me victory? It is in the prophecy. I know, I don't doubt this. It's just that, um, well, we've never had anything in all of Targaryen history like this. I know. That's why it would be a revelation. I see. And he puts his hand gently on hers. He will be your champion. Anybody who tries to challenge you, though he is low in stature and frail, again, he acts like that symbolical male dragon. Though he be weaker than the symbolical female dragon, which is you, the mother dragons, he will gladly lay his life down, even if it means his very own death, to prove himself to you and to defend you. She has this biggest smile. Wow. Um, and yes, I think that it's okay for you to be feeling what you're feeling right now. Though it's not my place because I am, well, not just a visionary, but a man. It's not for me to discuss. Perhaps it's something you should discuss with your handmaiden. But yes, those feelings will build in your heart as well. She kind of seems a little flushed at him telling her this and looks from left to right while looking downward. Then, cautiously removing his hand so not to cause her to feel strange, he then stands up and with a smile tells her, just keep looking up and keep a brave song and thought in your heart. Things will come to pass. Well, I promise I won't disturb you again, and I hope this gives you many things to think about. It has. Thank you, um, Visionary Lord. I will discuss things with my handmaiden and private, and I will keep a positive thought of the things that are yet to come. Well, that is good. That is good to hear because you are definitely now sounding like a queen ready to rule the realm of the kingdoms. And so that with that he bows humbly and respectfully and takes his leave.